Everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Guess who's back in the shop? The 2009 Subaru Forester. So my friend Artyom took it to Virginia, right?
Yep.
And on the way back, explain the situation. What started happening?
Well, I've taken, you know how to Google sometimes takes you to those roads to connect highways.
Yeah.
I thought it was another highway, but it's come out just a rural road with a 4-inch of wet snow.
So, okay, you're going through the snow.
And I got in the deep, and I turned off my traction control, started going upwards on the second gear. I had enough power, but suddenly like, and there's a smell of burning rubber in your face, and it's not going.
Okay, and you lost power, you said?
I lost the power. Lost the power. I started blinking.
Okay.
So I stopped.
And you saw coming out of your hood?
Yeah, and I stopped, and there's a car was behind me, and I saw there's a smoke was going out my hood. I said, oh, something's burning.
Yes. So, visual inspection. What do we see here at the air conditioning compressor? We see molten material coming out of this clutch. I don't know if it's plastic or rubber. Oh. Now the belt itself actually still looks okay. So let's start up the car and see what's going on here.
No conditioner, right?
Yeah, just start it up. Even here, the bearing in there is completely shot. Turn on the air conditioner. You turned it on? You can't do it?
You keep pressing button, doesn't happen. You can't.
What if you put on the defroster? Wait, there's no fan?
Yes, no fan. What the heck? How can it be?
Wait, you had fan yesterday, right?
Yes, but I had a fan today, but not anymore.
So you don't have a fan anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, shut it down. So what we see here is there's also meltage. I don't know if that's a technical term. So this looks like a traditional clutch. Thank goodness it's not one of those variable volume compressors that always spins. So it has a regular clutch. However, the clutch coil looks completely melted. And I think what happened was, first the bearing went, that melted the clutch, and then the actual coil shorted. This shorted out, and now a fuse blew somewhere, and you don't even have a fan anymore. So it's like a domino effect.
But the fan was this morning, so it just died.
Yeah, so, I mean, this thing is, the bearing gets really hot and just keeps melting and melting, and the coil
melted. I really like is that I got it to State College from...
Yeah.
Because that happened back in West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, this belt will eventually come off, I guess. Like, you could just cut it off right now. This is completely toast.
Yeah. Okay.
So you'll have to drive it without the air conditioner, and we'll see which fuse blew. I'm just curious if this clutch is sold separately, and we can just take it off and put a new one on. And this shouldn't be too bad if it's sold separately. Hopefully you don't have to buy a whole new compressor. So let's go online, do a little research, see what powers the fan, and see if a fuse blew. And if this thing is shorted out, then obviously that's a problem. Okay, just doing some research online. They do sell clutch kits for the air conditioning compressor for this model, and it's very reasonable, 50 bucks. It comes with the new coil that burned up, a new pulley with the bad bearing, and the clutch disc, all the snap rings, so that's not a problem. Now the question is, what caused the premature failure? And I believe the culprit is this stupid stretch to fit belt design, because the tension on this thing, even though they engineered it to be correct, it's not adjustable, and if the belt is too tight, that will cause this bearing to wear prematurely, in the pulley itself. And here they have the mounts for the older Subaru style, manual tensioner. So if we can find one, we're going to install a manual tensioner on here and the longer belt, and just tension it manually to avoid this overload on the bearing. But right now we have to get this guy off, get the coil off, and find which fuse feeds this, so at least you'll have fan for now, and we'll order all the parts and hopefully get this thing back on the road. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this stupid stretch the filter belt off. Oh, that felt good, right, Asham?
Yep.
Now your car is reliable again. Yeah, that's making the sound. It's completely seized. So now let's try to get this thing off. It looks like a 10mm nut or bolt on the face. That part came out. It's still probably really hot, so wear gloves. Let's take this clutch disc off. It's coming. Come on. Oh, beautiful. Okay, there are some shims. So these shims adjust the distance of the clutch disc to the main pulley, and it's important to keep them in order. Set the clutch gap, and now we have the carnage. You can actually see this bearing completely exploded, and there are roller balls just kind of hanging out right in there, right in there. So we got to take the snap ring off and hopefully pull this entire mess off. And these pliers are very handy. To reverse them, you just flip it over. So we want to go like this. Hopefully pick the right size of pin to get in there. There's the snap ring, very nice and easy. Great pliers. And now, theoretically, this is the hard part. So this whole bearing should come off. However, it got so hot that the inner race of the bearing, you know, I don't know if it sees to the actual compressor or not. We'll give it a little tap. Hopefully it comes off. So we'll try to use a little nasty baby air hammer to try to kind of hammer along the ridges here. And there we go. Wow, that is carnage. Amazing. So look, OEM Japanese NSK bearing, completely destroyed. There's just roller balls everywhere inside. So it's still spinning, but I've seen better days. Now here's the cause of the electrical short. So see all these wires? I think they kind of shorted out right to the compressor housing, and that's why we don't have a fan right now, because this whole thing is just shorted. We can prove it with a multimeter, but I don't think we need more proof than this right here. So now we have to get this coil off, and that is held in place with, I believe, another snap ring, I think. Let's take a closer look. Well, another discovery, the actual compressor shaft is completely seized. So now we get a better picture of what came first, the chicken or the egg. So let's say the compressor seized, but you know the clutch was on, he was in defrost mode, and you know if the compressor shaft seizes, this clutch disc can't turn even though the clutch is being engaged. Then you get this extreme heat buildup. You know, this pulley's still turning, the clutch is on, it creates so much heat, and that in turn melted this coil and destroyed the bearing apparently. So this thing needs actually a whole new compressor. So, you know, the initial diagnosis here that the bearing failed, well, you have to check your compressor shaft. So this thing, you can see it's splined to the shaft, and that's supposed to turn fairly freely by hand. Okay, so I got it to turn a little bit backwards. But that compressor is toast. I mean, there's no other anything to say about that. Now then, if the compressor seized, you have to keep in mind if there's metal shavings in there that got circulated through the system, that could be very, very expensive to repair because you have to clean the entire air conditioning system now, including the condenser. So from the compressor, we have the high pressure line, goes to the condenser. That can easily get clogged with the metal shavings. And then it goes through to the expansion valve inside the car, and then it comes back on the low pressure line back to the compressor. So what we can do is maybe take off, you know, discharge the system, take off the lines and see if there's any metal shavings in there. Yeah, this job is actually a pretty severe failure for the air conditioning system. Alright, so at least we want to fix the blower fan for now. Find this fuse that shorted out. So there's the clutch that got toasted, shorted out. That would blow this fuse right here, FB46 fuse box fuse number 22, which also feeds on the next page the control side for our blower motor relay. So it makes perfect sense that the blower motor doesn't work because the coil is completely toast. So all we need to do is find the right fuse, this guy right here. So let's find that. Alright, looking up the schematic for the fuse box. This is the interior fuse box, fuse number 22. Should be right there. Let's go find that guy. Alright, here's our fuse box. Fuse number 22 is that guy right there, 15 amp. And according to our little schematic here, it says AC IG. Let's pull that guy out. Boom, it is toast. You can see it's not continuous anymore. We'll pop a new fuse in here. Make sure we have blower. Yay, we have blower. Excellent. Close that guy off. And that is it. So I think with that, we'll wrap it up. We'll leave this guy hanging out here until Artyom decides what to do. This could be a very expensive repair considering we have to open up the AC system, look for metal shavings, get it, you know, price out a new compressor, evacuate, charge, blah 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 blah. I think the weather right now isn't too hot or cold, so we'll have to, you know, go old school and no AC. Even the Geo Prism had air conditioner, right, Artyom?
That's correct. Yeah. That's
oh man.
New history.
Yeah, yeah. So the Prism, the air conditioner still works, and on the new Subaru, this is what we have left. Carnage. So we're gonna leave this unhooked, obviously. Maybe tape it up so it doesn't short out or anything, and it's perfectly drivable. And that's it. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.